Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Pilates this afternoon. Before we start, just let's hope everybody's feeling fit and well. You're staying indoors and you're staying safe. If you have a little towel or a resistance band handy, that would be very good for today's class. We're going to do an exercise called the teaser, or a build-up towards the teaser. So you may need a little bit of assistance with some of the prep exercises. So we're going to start with our feet together, heels and toes touching, grounding through the big toe, baby toe and heel. Setting up the alignment, you're pulling up through the legs, drawing the abdominals in and up, pulling the rib cage down towards the hips, lengthening the spine and drawing the shoulders down and away from the ears. We start to float the arms up, keeping the rib cage connected to the hips, and then lower the arms. Let's add the breath. Breathing in through the nose, extending the arms over the head, shoulders stay down, abdominals braced. We think about engaging through the pelvic floor, pulling up from the pelvic floor as if we're stopping ourselves from passing wind and passing water. We inhale and extend the arms over the head, breathing into the sides of the ribs. Look up to the sky. Exhale, float the arms down, bring the chin towards the chest. Inhaling through the nose. Focusing on this setup and posture, as we want to maintain this throughout the whole class. Inhale through the nose. Just prepping the body and mind as we glide the arms up and down. And we're going to float the arms down, place them on the hips. Focusing on a little bit of balance, we lift one foot off the floor and place it back onto the floor. Spreading the toes. And if you find that the balance is too challenging, just lift the toe off the floor and place it back down. Just synchronize the breath to the movement. So we don't want to breathe too fast. Move too fast, it tells us we're breathing too fast. The hips stay in line. Don't want the hips jiggling about. The ribs and hips stay connected. Now let's add a little challenge. Hands stay on the hips. We're going to bring the opposite shoulder towards the opposite knee and come back to center. Float that leg down. Abdominals braced. Spine stays long. And rotate. Woo. As we rotate, we want to engage through the big toe. We want to pull up through the inner thigh. And let's try and make this a little bit more challenging. Just showing you from the side. You can take the arms out to the sides or behind the head and rotate. We want to keep the elbows as wide as we can. So we're moving from the shoulder rather than from the elbow. We can challenge this further by rotating and extending the arms. Bring it back in. Pulling in through that core. Let's do one more each side. Focus on a spot on the floor, around that big toe. Pull up through the inner thigh. Don't move too fast. It'll throw you off balance. And then just pump the heels, lifting one heel at a time, keeping the hips stacked. And then just from here, we're going to step forward and then just come down onto the knees. So the knees are directly below the hips. We keep the hands on the hips. And we're going to take the arms out in front. Scoop the abdominals nice and tight. And we're going to just start to tilt the body back. Getting a nice stretch through the front of the legs. Keeping a nice long line from the knees, hips and ankles. Inhale, float back. Exhale, come back up. Squeezing those glutes. You want to feel the length through the fronts of the legs. Hands on the hips if that's easier for you. Just always think about maintaining the long line. Extending out of the crown of the head and also out of the tailbone. Thinking about opposing length through the spine as we move. And last one here. And come back up. Place both hands on the floor into 4-point knee. Wrists directly below the shoulders. Nice long spine. Tailbone is slightly tucked under, abdominals tight. Let's tuck the toes under. Scoop the abdominals tight. And we're just going to lift the knees slightly off the floor, hovering the knees. And then place the knees back on the floor. Scoop the abdominals tight. You want to imagine that you can hold a tray of drinks on your lower back. And lower. So we want to keep the pelvis nice and still. Tailbone tucked under. Lift. Pushing through the hands. Fingers are spread. And lower. Now let's do one more. Exhale, lift. Inhale, slowly lower back down. Tuck up the toes under, toenails on the floor. Keep that spine long and bring the tailbone to the heels. And then walk the hands all the way out towards the floor. And if you can, bring the forehead all the way down to the floor, lengthening through the body. Slowly bring it out. So we're coming onto our knees. If this isn't comfortable, you can place a little towel underneath your bottom, or ideally just come down and cross into cross leg position. So the hips are nice and stacked on top of the shoulder, underneath the shoulders, and we're just going to come into a little side bend. So we want to float up through the left arm, reaching up and over, lengthening through the side of the body. And then float the arm down, float the right arm up. And as you float up and over, you want to imagine you're in between two panes of glass. The bicep is in line with the ear, and we want to think about elongating through the side of the body. Now this time we're going to come up and then sit back down. Bring the bottom to the side of the body, sit tall, and float to the opposite side. Inhaling through the nose, lengthen the spine through the center, and float down to the opposite side. Inhale, exhale, inhale, float. Last one here. And come back to center. Taking those hands, placing them on the hips. Now we're going to take the knees slightly wider than the hips this time. Scoop the abdominals, draw the shoulders back, collarbone is wide. We're going to inhale, and we're going to bring the rib cage to the hips on the right side. Again, we're staying in between that pane of glass. Come back to the center. We lengthen through the spine and take it to the opposite side. We are always thinking about engaging the pelvic floor, pulling the abdominals in and up. Harder option, you may stay in this position if you wish, or we can extend that right leg out. We want to make sure that the ankle, knee, hip and shoulder stay in line. And this time, we're going to just hinge, taking the arms in that T position, Keeping that right foot grounded, abdominals stay braced. You're still in between the panes of glass. And come back up. Keeping your moves nice and slow, harder option. We reach to the sky, we extend through those arms. And we lengthen through. So that right oblique is working nice and hard. You're grounding through that right foot. Inner thigh in the left leg is nice and strong. One more here. Float all the way back up. Take the hands out. And then if we can, drop one hand to the floor. We're still that T position with the arms. The hip and knee are in line. And we're going to start to lift the right foot off the floor. Lifting and lowering, extending out of the hip socket. Thinking about length through the upper side of the body. Lift and hold that position. And if you can, we start to draw little circles with that leg. Modified version, we can come to the floor and draw circles, maintaining that line. Two more. Tap that leg. Now we're going to extend the arm so that the bicep again is in line with the ear. And we're going to bring the knee to meet the elbow and extend the arm and leg in opposite directions. As if you've got a magnet pulling you to opposite ends of the room. Lengthen and come back in. 3 more. Exhale, lengthen. Inhale. Exhale, pointing through the toe. This is our last one. Extend long. Bring the foot to the floor. Extend the arm. Use those obliques to lift you all the way back up to the top. Come back in. Extend the opposite leg. Extend the arms. Spine is nice and long. And we start to tilt through the spine. From the hips, sorry, not the spine. The spine stays long. Sit tall. Exhale. So the arms are reaching in opposite directions. Exhale, drop down. Inhale, abdominals tight and float back up. Harder option, you can extend the arms. And keep those arms in line with the shoulders. As if you're holding an imaginary ball in your hands. Exhale. Inhale, come back up, and this is your last one. Float back up. Arms in a T position, and we float the hand to the floor. Right hand to the floor, we lift the left leg. Lift and lower. Modified version, we tuck that bottom leg under and lift and lower. Exhaling to lift and extend that leg. Inhale to bring it back down. Ankle, knee, hip and shoulder stay in line. Elevate that leg and let's draw little circles with that toe. The movement does not come from the knee or the ankle. It comes from the hip socket. 4 more. 3. 2. And last one. Float that leg down. Extend that arm as far away as you can and bring the elbow to the knee for 6. 5. Keep the control through the body as you move. Exhale, lengthen. 2 more. And last one. Lengthen through. Extend the hand to the ceiling. Ground that leg through the knee and float. Ooh, back up onto the knees. Let's come down onto the floor, rolling onto the back. So from here, we want to get our position through the abdominals. Shoulder blades are grounded on the floor, collarbone wide, hips shining towards the ceiling. And we're going to start with leg circles. So option 1, we keep the knee bent. We draw a little circle as if we've got a pencil on our knee. And we draw circles in one direction. Harder option, we extend the leg. We take the leg across and float it round. Harder option, the opposite leg extends nice and long. Now here's what we want to learn from the leg circle. We want the rib-hip connection. We want the abdominals braced, pelvic floor engaged. But we want those hips to stay facing the ceiling. What we don't want is to start rolling around in the lower back, printing on the floor. We want to keep a nice neutral spine. And just work on your own flexibility. We've got 2 more. We want to think about length through that leg. Changing direction here. Now, if you have your leg straight, but it still has a little micro bend, that is fine. Some people just don't have the hamstring flexibility. So you work at whatever is right for you. There is no right or wrong. 2 more circles. Bring it back to center. Bend the knee and bring that foot to the floor. Realign the pelvis and we take it onto the opposite side. So option 1, knee is bent. We draw the circle from the knee. We keep the pelvis grounded and we circle from the hip socket. Option 2, the leg can be long. Option 3, opposite leg, lengthened along the floor. And just make sure you're elongating through your spine, thinking about length and oppositions through the tailbone and through the crown of the head. Changing direction here for 6. Working those inner thighs. 5, 4, 3. Almost there. Circle that leg, bend the knee, and hug the knees into towards the chest. Just rocking from side to side. So today we're going to prep for a teaser, which is quite a difficult, one of the probably the most difficult Pilates exercises that we do. So we're going to warm up the hips and the back before we do so. So we're going to come into a pelvic tilt and up into a bridge. I'm going to take my hands out of the way just so you can see what's happening through the pelvis and the rib cage. So we start off with the feet just in line with the bottom. Knees, hips and ankles are in line. And you want to start off just lifting the tailbone towards the ceiling. Draw that belly in as if you're sucking it in and up. And then draw it all the way back down. You will feel a little space between your lower back and the floor. Inhale, tuck the tailbone. Exhale, roll it back under. Lovely little massage for the lower back. Spine is elongated. Shoulder blades are heavy on the floor. Now we want to start to segmentally lift the spine off the floor. So we lift the tailbone and then we lift the pelvis. You can squeeze those glutes and feel the length through the front of the quads, and then roll the pelvis all the way back to the floor. Inhale, lift the tailbone, Exhale, roll back. Now this time we're going to come up a little bit higher. We want to roll the pelvis off the floor and the lower back so that you can feel the bottom of the ribs still on the floor, squeezing those glutes. You want to feel the rib cage and the hips become closer together, and then roll the spine all the way back down. You want to think about control and just visualize each vertebra lifting one at a time and then returning to the floor one at a time. If you want to, you can have the hands on the floor and use your triceps to help you push up and down. Now this time let's come up a little bit higher. We want to lift all the way up so that you feel the shoulder blades wide on the floor, and then control the vertebra to the floor again. Abdominals stay braced. And you want to feel each vertebra hit the floor as you curl all the way back down. Inhale, roll up. So this is option 1. You can stay here for as long as we're going to work on our bridge. Otherwise, we're going to add a few little challenges throughout the way. So we roll up into our bridge. We can hold the bridge by squeezing the glutes, grounding through the toes and the heels. Shoulder blades are wide, collarbone is wide, and we're squeezing those glutes, and we're not holding our breath. We're going to start off taking the arms as if you've got a little invisible ball and you're extending the arms all the way away. What we want to focus on here is the connection between the ribs and the hips. Nothing moves. So you don't want to be in this position where your back is arched. You want to keep the ribs down and connected. So we extend. So here we're showing that we're working through the shoulder girdle, we're working through the pelvis, and we're working through the hips. The spine is long, the glutes are tight. Exhale, lengthen. And inhale, float back up. Let's do one more here. Float the arms back in line with the shoulders, and then slowly segmentally curl the spine all the way back to the floor, one vertebra at a time. From here, we want to walk the feet out a little bit wider, maybe to the outside of your mat if you have the flexibility. Inhaling through the nose, draw through the big toe, baby toe, and heel, and we start to lift the pelvis. Segmentally, once again, we lift all the way up, shoulder blades down. Holding this position, we're going to draw the knees in towards each other. Squeeze those inner thighs. And then open them as wide as you possibly can. Now what we want to think about here is not lifting the pelvis up and down as we lift and lower. We want to keep the pelvis in one line. If you need to, place your hands on your hip bones so that we don't move the pelvis. Now we're squeezing those glutes. Exhale, open. Inhale, close. Inhale, open. Now open the knees as wide as you can. Squeeze the glutes as hard as you can. And you're going to lift the hips for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. If you're not feeling your glutes by now, you're doing something wrong. 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift those hips as high as you can, bring the knees in together. This time we pulse again for 10. You can extend the arms all the way behind if you can, but you want to keep your ribs and hips connected. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one here. Float the arms back up, bring the knees back in, and walk the feet back in before we roll all the way back to the floor, hugging one knee in, one at a time, and circle. So bringing ourselves up to sit. Hope you all feel those glutes working nice and hard now. So from here we're going to go into our teaser prep. So we want to sit up nice and tall. Just move any fleshy parts of your bottom out of the way, and we want to sit up nice and tall. And we're just going to lift. We want to sit up, but sit back slightly so you have a little C curve going on. And we're just going to lift 1 foot at a time. Our feet, knees, hips, and shoulders are in line. Hold on behind the thighs and lift and lower. We're bracing the abdominals, pulling the abdominals in and scooping them up. Protecting the lower back. If you find that the lower back hurts, you can roll up your towel and give yourself a little cushion so that we don't roll back. Now, harder option, we lift and lower, but we extend the arms. And if you can, we want to start to lengthen that leg all the way out. We've warmed up those legs through our leg circles. Brace the abdominals. By all means, hold on if you need to. Lifting and extending. And last one here. And sitting all the way back up. Bring the heels together, drop the knees wide, and just flutter those legs. Bring the legs back in. Coming into a half roll back. So again, we take our hands cup behind the thighs, and we sit up nice and tall, so the spine is like the letter I. We draw the abdominals tight as we tuck the pelvis under and start to come into a C curve. So now the spine is like the letter C. Keeping the collarbone wide and roll back. Take the hands away if you want to. Scoop the abdominals and roll back. Inhale through the nose and roll back up. Now this is where we might want to use our towel or a resistance band. So as we roll back, we can hold onto the towel, push against the legs. So we segmentally once again roll the spine down and use the arms to help you roll back up. Here we're learning muscle memory, but it also incorporates a full body exercise. Sit nice and tall. We roll the pelvis forward and roll back. And if you can, roll all the way to the floor. Segmentally rolling the spine all the way down and then back up. So from here, knees are bent. Lift and extend the arms towards the heels and roll back down. Inhaling through the nose, keep the ribs and hips connected, abdominals braced, pelvic floor is engaged, and we lift. We want to draw the lower back as close to the floor as we can. Now if this is your level, you want to stay here. Otherwise, we can roll all the way back. Lengthening through the spine. Inhale, curl the abdominals, roll back. Now I don't like it when I can't do an exercise, so I'm going to show you a little modification that you can try to help you learn the teaser a little bit quicker. So we're going to take the towel and place it either on the foot or behind the leg. And we're going to try and push against the leg as we counter pull the lower body, or the upper body, sorry, to the floor. Segmentally, one vertebra at a time, we tuck the chin. Now lift, brace, pull in from the abdominals, brace from the abdominals and slowly pull up. The foot that's on the floor is helping you, and this leg is also helping you to roll up, lengthening through the spine. If you want to, you can try it without the towel, and we slowly segmentally roll down. Inhale to lower. And we exhale and lift. Brace the abdominals, pelvic floor is tight. Rolling back. Change legs this time. Again, bring your towel into play if you need to. Rolling down. Bend the knee in if you need to also. Place the towel below the leg. Extend. Brace the abdominals, pelvic floor engaged. Exhale, lift. And last one, roll up. And float the leg down. So, let's make it a little bit more challenging. So you can take your towel or your resistance band and place it below your knees. We're coming back to our little starting position. So we're going to hold this position on the seat bones and sit up nice and tall. Slightly rocking back, pelvis is turned under slightly, shoulders are wide, collarbone wide, and we're going to sit in this position. Now, harder option, you come into our teaser here, or you can hold on if you haven't got a towel or a resistance band and just hold it here. We want to try and practice holding this position. Now, here's where it gets a little bit more challenging. We're going to try and stabilize lower body as we move upper body. So we scoop those abdominals, pull in as tight as you can and pull up. And you're going to start to segmentally roll the spine, tapping the pelvis under to the floor. Scoop the abdominals, exhale, chin comes to chest. And we start to roll all the way back up with control. Harder option, no towel. Inhale. Harder option, straight legs. Elongate through those toes. Make this our last one, lengthen. Hold it here. Hug the knees in and drop the feet to the floor. Hugging onto those knees. Rocking back and forwards onto the sit bones. And roll onto the floor. Full teaser. Now, granted, this is a very challenging exercise, so only try this if you're very experienced at Pilates. You don't want to feel any pain in your lower back at all. Inhaling through the nose. On our exhale, we scoop the abdominals, we tuck the chin and we start to lift the arms. We start to lift the feet at the same time. Same angle with the feet, the legs and the hands, and then we slowly control it back to the floor. Inhaling through the nose. Slowly lower back down. Keeping control throughout. The lower back is nice and heavy on the floor as you lower down. Slowly lower back down. Control, 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 control. And float the arms to the sides. bring the feet in towards the bottom, scoop the abdominals and drop the knees to one side, keeping the inner thighs engaged. Shoulders stay wide. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, drop the knees to the opposite side. If you wish, you can look to the opposite shoulder. Inhale, back to center. And just coming up to sit. Sitting up nice and tall. We're going to extend, well in fact we'll keep the elbows bent. I'm going to come at a little angle for you. So we take the feet slightly wider than the hips and we're going to inhale through the nose. It's a little prep for the saw. Inhale through the nose and we rotate shoulder towards the opposite leg. Inhale, come back to center, keep the spine long. Exhale, rotate. Inhale, center. Now the hip bones stay down. This is option 1. Option 2, we rotate shoulder to the opposite leg. We lengthen both arms in opposite directions and then hinge forward through the hips, reaching towards the baby toe and come back up. Inhale. Exhale, rotate, extend both arms in opposite directions. Hinge through the hips, reach baby toe, baby finger to baby toe, come back up. Lengthen tall, rotate. Lengthen and hinge. Inhale, come back up. One more each side. Exhale, float all the way forward and come back to center. This time we bring the feet together, trying to make sure that the second toe is in line with the center of the knee. Sitting nice and tall, we're going to start to walk the hands all the way towards the shins. Abdominals are braced and we start to roll that spine. Hinge through the hips, and if you can, hold on to the shins or hold on to the toes and roll the body weight all the way forward. If you need to keep the knees bent, that is fine. Otherwise, take the backs of the knees to the floor and hold. We're going to hold here for 5 breaths. In through the nose. Exhale, slowly roll a little bit further forward. Breathing in through the nose. Exhale fully through the mouth. Long slow breath in, and on your exhale, just slowly start to uncurl the spine to bring it all the way back up. Let's come round onto our front and we'll finish off with a little work on the front. So we're going to take our hands on the floor, elbows in line with the shoulders, hands in line with the elbows. Inhale through the nose. On our exhale, we're going to lift the head and shoulders. Open through the chest. Lengthen through the crown of the head and slowly roll back down with control. Abdominals are braced. Hip bones stay down. We don't want to engage the glutes at this stage as we're just moving through the upper body. Now this time, if you wish, you can extend the arms long. On our exhale, we want to slide the hands in and lengthen through. Draw those abdominals and slow it all the way back down. Shoulders are down and away from the ears. Bring it all the way up this time. Lengthen through the spine. Feel that extension all the way from the crown of the head Have a little wriggle from side to side. Drive the right shoulder forward and then the left. Looking towards your feet. And bring it back to center. Lengthen through that spine. Drive through the hands. Lift the tailbone to the ceiling. And then drive the tailbone towards the heels. Bringing the forehead as close to the floor as you can. Coming back onto all fours. Wrists directly below the shoulders. Nice long spine, abdominals braced. Pull the tailbone towards the floor, belly button towards the ceiling, and bring the chin to the chest. Exhale, we drop the belly to the floor. We lift the tailbone, extend the chin all the way in front. Inhale, scoop the belly in. Tailbone tucks down and under. And then the chin comes forward, tailbone to the ceiling, belly to the floor, bring the spine back to neutral. And we're just going to draw a little circle this time with the belly. Taking the belly down to the right, all the way up and to the left. Get as much range of motion as you possibly can. Change in direction. Sit the tailbone to the heels, walk the hands all the way back in and come up to sit. Take the arms out wide. Drive the elbows in towards the ribs and then extend the arms all the way out wide. Collarbone is wide, spine is long, abdominals braced. Extend the arms. Raise the arms up over the head. Bring the hands together. Inhale. Exhale, float the arms all the way up. Exhale. Inhaling through the nose. And exhale. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you had enjoyed the class and you had a great time. Stay safe, stay indoors, and enjoy the sunshine.